Time now for the OTR Political Roundtable, and this week our analysts are Marianne Marsh on the Democratic side and Republican analyst Patrick Griffin. We're not going to ask the most important question of the day: why aren't the Patriots playing in the Super Bowl? We're not going to ask
there's that, isn't there?
Boy, that sounds like we let the air out of that conversation, didn't we?
It's just
I didn't use the word to deflate, so don't worry about it.
All right, let's skip over the Dems, let's skip over the Republicans, go right straight to a possible independent candidate. Michael Bloomberg. Is it serious, and could it happen, Patrick?
Mike Bloomberg has the lawyers, the money to get on the ballot in a lot of these places. Third-party candidates rarely work. The last time we saw a real problem with a third-party candidate was Ross Perot. I think he might. If Trump and Sanders look like they're headed there, Mike Bloomberg is in.
How serious do you take him, Marianne?
Don't we need another New York billionaire in this race? I mean, come on.
We don't have enough, right?
And Pat is right. It will only happen.
Wait a minute, flag the tape. Flag the tape.
Trump and Sanders are the nominees, so probably not going to happen.
Endorsements, do they mean anything? Patrick, here, Donald Trump this week has hailed his endorsement from Jerry Falwell as a key signal to Republican primary voters. Charlie Baker and Elizabeth Warren are still on the sidelines. Do endorsements mean anything anymore, Patrick?
You know, everything is upside down in this election, Ed. I got to tell you something. I don't know where that Jerry Falwell Jr. Endorsement came from. One or two things are going on. Either the evangelicals are selling out in Iowa, or there's going to be a Donald J. Trump School of Business at Liberty University very soon.
He tweeted that.
Yeah.
Endorsements don't mean what they used to, but you'd rather have them than not. I mean, they used to be big grand slams, home runs. Now they're singles and doubles. But the fact is, in close races, that's all you need is a single or double. A couple incremental things make a big difference in a lot of close races.
It appears to be gathering
validation that adds up to something. Last point, the newspaper editorials, to go to the Boston Globe, for example, back in the 90s, when you polled, that was 10 points. It's not that anymore.
Not anymore.
Bernie Sanders, he went to the White House this past week. So why did the president invite Bernie Sanders to the White House last week, Marianne?
Well, he gave all but an endorsement to Hillary Clinton, right? And so I think in light of that interview, the White House said, we really should have had Sanders in, and we really need to get him in before either Iowa or New Hampshire, because if he wins one of those, and then we have him in, then we really look like we're endorsing him. So they should have done their politics a little sooner. Took him off the campaign trail for part of a day going into Iowa, but he got a lot of coverage out of it.
But do you think they're thinking, maybe, or do you think it's just to cover their...
No, I think the president went way out there in that interview for Hillary Clinton, and the timing, both.
What's your takeaway, Patrick?
It's called hedging, and that's what the president's doing.
It is not.
And there's nothing wrong with hedging. Look, he's the titular head of his party. Bernie Sanders is making a real run at this. And while I still think Hillary winds up with the nomination, I think there may be a surprise or two coming down the road based on turnout in Iowa.
Sanders also has a hold on one of his nominees to the FDA.
The rubber's meeting the road. Tomorrow is Iowa. Patrick, let's start off. Who is your pick? Explain to me what's going to happen.
1, 2, 3, if you can.
1, 2, 3 tomorrow night in Iowa.
I think that Trump wins Iowa, although I will tell you, based on what I know about Iowa and the time I've spent there, Iowa's not built as much for Trump. It's built for Cruz, but it's pretty clear that Trump has momentum. Who caucuses, who comes out, how big is the turnout? Second will be Cruz. Third place, I got to tell you, every day I change it a little bit. Marco Rubio seems to be the guy with the juice, but I'm not sure it matters much because coming out of there, the story is going to get so bogged down by Trump and Bernie. I think. So I'm not sure it matters. That Republican narrative doesn't mean a whole lot unless someone were to exceed in Iowa and exceed in New Hampshire.
Marianne, Senator Sanders may have appeal where the colleges are in Iowa. But Secretary Clinton may have a broader appeal in the more rural areas.
Right, and that's why you see Sanders trying to get those college kids to go home in Iowa and go caucus there. So I think Clinton wins Iowa. I think it's a tough, close fight. I think the O'Malley delegates who don't make the 15% where they go will make a difference. And that gives her a chance, if she wins it, to win New Hampshire, which is a huge climb right now. But Sanders has to, I think if Sanders wins Iowa and New Hampshire, he's on a big roll. And as we've discussed, those 11 days make everything. But I think Hillary Clinton's going to pull it out.
Won't that roll come to a complete halt in South Carolina?
Well, we have to go to Nevada first. So the Democrats go to Nevada first. There's 11 days in between, and I think the media attacks on Hillary Clinton in those 11 days will be everything, which is why they're going to do everything they can to win Iowa tomorrow night.
Let's just talk for a second about the Utes vote, okay?
What is a Ute?
The Utes, the Utes, the young people, millennials. I've been waiting for these millennials to show up
They
at
did for
polling
Obama.
places for like
Not
they
just for
did,
rallies, you
but
mean.
not just for rallies and not just for free beer. The question is, who shows up to vote from the millennial crowd, younger voters, which Bernie clearly has captured their imagination. This is a 74-year-old man who's leading a hippie charge toward taking over the Democratic Party. It's insane, but it's true.
What you have to look at is that Sanders has replicated part of the Obama coalition
that's
that
correct.
allowed Obama to win Iowa in 2008. He hasn't replicated all of it, and that's the difference.
Let me switch it up very, very quickly. Marianne, Republicans, where do you think the 1, 2, 3 will be in Iowa?
Trump, and the rest doesn't matter because Cruz doesn't win. He's not going to win anywhere. It's
And
Trump's nominee. Doesn't blah, blah, blah.
And what
doesn't
about
matter.
you,
Doesn't
Bernie
matter.
or,
Doesn't matter.
is it gonna be
He's your
Bernie
nominee,
Sanders or-
buddy.
Bernie Sanders.
Well,
or Hillary
you may
Clinton
get Bernie,
in
buddy,
Iowa?
so let's not, misery loves company,
Yeah,
okay?
that one.
Bernie Sanders or Hillary Clinton in Iowa?
I think that Hillary probably pulls it out, but you know what? I'm not going to make that call yet. Turnout. I still think that's a toss-up.
Come on, you're going to have one right call. Come on.
Next item, Boston's Mayor Marty Walsh squeezes a few more dollars out of Steve Wynn, and they both claim victory, both claim they're ready to move on. But did this $2 million lawsuit permanently damage the casino's relationship with Boston, Marianne, and does it matter?
It matters to Wynn a lot because he needs the permits. It matters to Walsh because he not only gets money, gets his legal fees paid, and gets the infrastructure improvements and a park for Charlestown. It matters to Charlestown because it'll be better than it would have been otherwise. They wouldn't be happy unless there was no casino. It's probably the best scenario for everybody.
Patrick.
$1.7 billion project goes green light, right? People go to work. The $25 million that's already been committed is added, sweetened by $6 million. I think more than anything else, on top of the GE deal, the mayor wins this one. They move on and forget.
Smart for the mayor to
very
get out
smart.
and move on.
Smart to move on, claim victory. This is Olympics 2. Marty Walsh shows that Boston is open for business.
Quickly.
Big win, W-Y-N-N, for Mayor Walsh.
He can spell.
Who knew?
How serious is Boston Latin School's racial problems, and is it being addressed quickly enough since it resurfaced recently, Patrick?
You know, I don't know. There's people making mischief again on this. It's a serious problem. I think the mayor's working with administrators at the school, with Dr. Chang, in terms of dealing with it. I think that the Twitterization of this that's happening is probably more politics than anything else.
Are they moving quickly enough, Marianne?
Social media brought it to the fore, and what is really interesting to me here is that the Walsh people have been watching Tito Jackson, who's had a huge increase in donations from the John Connolly people who challenged Walsh the last time. So is Tito Jackson a stalking horse for John Connolly, who made education his format for a rematch, or is it Tito Jackson? That's the politics
It's
here.
Tito Jackson.
It's the politics
It's
here.
Tito Jackson, actually. He has
it-
delusions of mayorship, and if I were Marty Walsh, I'd sleep very good tonight.
Tito can't do it, but you should understand the Welsh people are watching him.
They should. They should watch everybody, but he doesn't beat him. I don't even think he challenges.
Who had the best week when OTR continues?